Vali, thank you for joining me.
Emmanuel, good seeing you again.
Good seeing you again. So, we've got some interesting material to cover today, and it's one of those topics that will not garner a lot of attention in the security world, but I still think it's very important. And I figured, you know what, let's talk about this. We'll go down this road and see where it leads us, okay? So, customer service as it relates to a security guard. So again, a topic that you don't often hear about, but from my perspective, it's one of the biggest ways I've operated as a security guard is with a friendly demeanor and seen it as the first point of entry for um, for customers that are walking in. In many cases, in a store, customers don't really know that you're not part of the store. Like they think that, well, you're employed by the store somehow, right?
Mhm.
And in many
A lot of
cases, they
times.
think, yeah, you're part of the store. They don't realize that in more cases than not, it's an outsourced security guard company that's not in house. So, which is more common than not, from what I've realized. So, want to know what your thoughts are on this because a lot of guards get into the industry and they think that, well, I could just stand here and I'm a security guard. I don't have to be nice or smile or greet people. They don't see that as part of their position. And I mean, I can, looking back at my history, I owe many that didn't do that. And I'm not sure if it was the nature of that job back in the day and as it's evolved now. But maybe I'll get your input on what you think about that.
Right. Yeah. Very good point. I think the industry has come a long ways, and specifically when we're looking at the Canadian, in North America in general, but Canadian very specifically, because our roles are fairly limited when it comes to what a guard can or cannot do. And so by default, what we end up doing is a lot of customer service. And sure, we got to be able to bring more than the basics, which is the protection of life and property.
Mhm.
And then above and beyond that is everything else. So the way I look at it is if you're a guard, by the time it doesn't distract you and take away from your prime duties, then what kind of value added service can we bring to the client? Is very simple, right? And in fact, and I think you can probably touch on that, because you have years of experience in that, and also in terms of teaching and training and coaching and knowing the value of quality service. Um, a guard that interacts with a patron on entry, or by the time I'm not talking loss prevention covert type work. I'm talking your standard retail
Yeah,
guard, greeter at the door, presence. When you engage with a patron, regardless of who they are, what they look like, because obviously we're not in business of profiling,
no,
then you get better results in terms of deterrence as well, because you have engaged, you have made that eye contact, you have said hello, how are you, you have shown presence. So I think it's foundational to our work at that level. And I know, and again, you can add more to that. The amount of training that we can give to our guards in terms of customer service isn't the same as a call center, or somebody whose sole role is to make sure that the customer is kept happy and
of course.
that's service rendered. But there are some basics, and I was thinking about that maybe a couple of weeks back, when it's simple. I'll tell you one thing: just don't be a prick. That's a good starting point. That's and because I see a lot of that out there, like guys who think that because they got a uniform they can throw their weight around their shoulder, or they're just pricks, right? And how many jokes are there around, like the guards who are wannabe cops who couldn't make it to the academy, so they become a security guard and then they throw. There's a fair amount of that, absolutely, right? And so we want to strive to go to the opposite way: be kind, be helpful. Um, by the time it's not taking away from your main role.
Of course, yeah. No, so yeah, those are all great points. And again, for guards that are listening to this, and they're kind of the difference between like a beginner and intermediate and a more advanced skill level in terms of security work is those little details, right? It's when I'm working the door or I'm at the front of a retail store, I want to make eye contact with the person because I just generally want to be polite. I'm not trying to be fake. It's just generally interested to see, do I know the person or can I help them somehow? Again, many cases they might not sure where they want to go. I mean, nowadays we have to deal with lineups and making sure people have their mask on and making sure their hands are sanitized in many cases. And we're liaisoning with the store managers because of capacity of stores and how many people can be inside the store. So in many cases, I would take a walk around the store and make sure I knew where different areas of things were because people were going to ask me, where is something? And I want to be able to at least have a general idea that it's over here or it's over here, right? So the way I would approach it, and what I tell people is that you don't have to be like completely, like you said, provide the full service because you're not. The main goal is as a security, but in general, just from like by being customer service focused, you're already going to get some information. So by smiling and making eye contact, it's very easy to see the demeanor of the person. It's very easy to say, the state of mind of the person. Do they smile back? Are they giving you a dirty
Right.
look?
I gotta say, sorry to interrupt. One of the really interesting things that has happened since COVID is the issue with the mask. You know, you might be smiling, and the person would not see that. They just see you looking at them with these stern eyes, but you have a smile behind.
But
And
you can kind of see it. You can see because the cheeks go up a little
yeah,
bit.
but I want to say like the importance of that facial cue is insane. When somebody's walking past you and you know they're smiling or they say something, and here with a mask and a hoodie and this and that, you don't get to hear them. So they have said hi to you and you haven't heard it, and you just look at them. And so I've seen a lot of strange interactions
Yes.
based on that because of this lack of personification or whatever, just being able to really see who's behind the mask, right?
Yeah.
So it's another reason to be even more attentive, to pay extra attention. And how many times do we have people, guards want to wear earbuds because they can whatever, and it does take away. There's enough limitations right now as it is, between the distancing and the face coverings and all these things, to make things very complicated in terms of how much cues and how much information you're getting, right? So another reason, just be on top of your game and be attentive.
Yeah, I kind of broke it down into a few areas, like in terms of, so the very first one is your impression. Like, so in other words, how's your dress? Do you look properly dressed? Are you clean shaven? Is your hair fixed? Do you have the uniform on? Are you wearing the uniform correctly? In other words, is it neat? How is your attire? How's your posture? Where are you, how's your presence at the front or wherever you are? That right away, it tells a lot already. You're not supposed to, again, you're supposed to be welcoming. You're not supposed to be off-putting, right? We're supposed
Yeah.
to be welcoming. And that's the difference where you said, well, that guy looks like a prick, right? You have that look on your face, right? And there was a famous poster I remember, um, when I was dealing a little bit more with customer service, was this bald eagle. And it was a headshot of a bald eagle, and it was turning to the side, and it looked so proud, and it had a stern face. And the quote says, "But I am smiling."
Right.
And the bald eagle was actually happy, but it does not have the ability to smile. And what the question was is, if you want a smile, or you want to, then you need to tell your face. If you look angry, like so, and many times as a guard, I would be, I might have a good presence, but I always had a smile, soft eyes, not clenched jaw, not hands crossed, very confrontational. I would have my hands beside me or behind me, like open, and I would always make good eye contact. And I always used to say, past that, I always say, good morning, good afternoon, welcome, right? Uh, and I would always use simple gestures. If there was a lineup forming and I would put my hand up, say, just 1 minute, it'll be just a minute to get in. And they'll be like, okay, great. Or if they were going, I would just direct them with a hand gesture to where to go. So come up with words like, hey, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Welcome. Um, you'll
Did
hear
you
a response.
did you say hey?
No, said good morning. How are you? Welcome. How was, yeah, no, not hey. I've never said hey to somebody, but so the greeting and the words, because again, now with a mask, right? Yeah, you need more words, right?
You know,
And
man, let me just quickly before I forget an important point you made. I mean, you can be without a uniform,
yeah,
right? So and we do a lot of specialty contracts where guards are minimal uniform, but the word you chose is presence. And what I say is that you can be in absolutely covert, plain clothes civilian, but you can still have show that presence. And in fact, those who have the eye, you can recognize kind of a guy who's usually in uniform or who is in a position of power
yeah,
in their civilian clothes just by the way they hold themselves, right?
mhm,
And I think presence can it probably takes away more than anything else.
I would agree.
So you can be lacking all these other things. You can have a mask on your face. You can be in plain clothes, and still people can be, oh, this guy stands out, or this guy now. And when you go to the extreme, you have your arms crossed and you might be frowning, right, to get that kind of, which is, of course, we don't need that in the bulk of customer service oriented security work.
Yeah,
Whereas it should be the opposite, just like you say, arms out of the side, or you're open. And then and it doesn't take a lot to be able to acknowledge somebody. Just a little lean forward, a shake of the head, just like a please. It's minimal. It's very, very minimal. It's not like every time you have to say good day, please, hello, how are you, come on in, when you have 1,000 people. But acknowledging, making the eye contact, letting him know, and maybe give him direction. It's simple. It's a lot of it's kind of like handwork, like when it
yeah.
just yeah, it's very, very simple. The hands, the placement, just it's very simple, basic cue work that most people understand. And to some extent, the other end of it is also easy to pick out. Who's got attitude, who's being a bit of a prick, whatever, is also something we pick on, right?
And that's kind of my angle, or was looking at, by helping people, by greeting them, by giving a good first impression, one that is pleasant and welcoming as compared to off-putting. And then also asking for assistance. You can tell when somebody's lost or confused. You can see it. Whether I had one recently with you when we were at one of the malls, and you just see this. I see from far away. I saw this woman running, and her husband had gotten in before she had got to the lineup, and she was panicking. Like you could see that, and I just knew right away. I just put my hand up and go, slow down. I said, don't worry, you can go in. Like she thought I was gonna make her
Right.
wait the whole lineup. I said, come on. I mean, I could see that that was the wife, but and missed the husband that just got in.
Right. And this is a fascinating point because like you are taking liberty here. You're understanding the situation, right? And it's a no-brainer.
No.
It's a no-brainer. But for a lot of guards who are uncertain, who are unsure, they don't want to deal with the backlash of having to explain themselves to the rest of the people in the lineup why this person can go in. So they'll say, no, you got to go to the back. And it's like, this is customer service. This is security with that twist. It's like, we're keeping people happy here. And if the three first people in the lineup can't understand that, that's more for them to deal with. But I'd have no problem say, sorry, the person's better half is already in the store. I would have done the same for you, right?
Of
And
course.
and I think like what seems very natural, obvious, common sense to you might not be. And the reason why he's doing it is because you can deal with the damage control. You can explain yourself why you did it. You can explain if the store manager comes and says somebody complained why you let someone else say, look, their husband was in the store, they're shopping. I don't want to make them wait 25 minutes so they can, choose whatever they want to buy. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But the guard needs to take the initiative. The
Yes.
guard needs to be able to handle that situation, right? And
Just
and
just look for assistance is really what it is. Like I've always found that it's no shortage of people being lost and not sure where they are,
right,
not sure where to go. And by engaging in dialogue, you also get to know who the person is a lot better. Are they good? What are they up to? So it really helps a lot. So it helps you as a security guard do your job better because you're studying people. You're studying what person needs to help. And also, you're also going to find the person that's up to no good. You're going to see that they won't want to answer those questions. They won't want to greet you very good. Their first impression, you smile at somebody and say good morning. The general would be good morning back. A person that
Right.
hides their face, just darts in, you already know something might be up. I don't know, but the flag has been tripped, right? So it helped me by being friendly, understanding, and in those regards, it helped me better understand who was in the store, what their mentality was. What are they there for? I always love to look. In grocery stores, it was really funny, Valley. I would see all the time. What do people look like when they go shopping? Right? They're usually, especially grocery shopping, they don't have an expression of, oh my God, this is the most wonderful experience I've ever had in my life. I can't wait to go in here. They're usually, it's a mission. I got to do my grocery shopping. I got to get it done, and I'm going to go in. So you see that they have a hurried look on their face. They know where they want to go. They know what they want to do. They have a plan. They have a routine. People that are interested in stealing from a grocery store or pickpocketing people that are in there, like purses and wallets and stuff like that, generally have a lot more casual look up there. It's a lot more like a walk in the park. Nobody goes to a grocery store for a walk in the park. Like, I would always be able to pick those people out just by the rate of walk and the way with which they approach grocery shopping. Most people don't just go grocery shopping and wander for hours on end. That's just not how they do it. So, nonetheless, so I would say greeting the person and making eye contact and saying something, and then putting a good impression on, which is meaning welcoming, and then asking for assistance. And then if there is a problem, communicate clearly. Like, be able to communicate clearly. Sorry, unfortunately, the store needs you to sanitize your hands and have a mask on, right? Unfortunately, the store is at capacity right now due to certain restrictions. So being able to communicate in a polite way, not just saying, hey, buddy, back off, or no, you can't come in. It's just being able to simply communicate why you made that decision, right? And most people don't know how to do that without being rude. Just be understanding, right? Just be understanding, because people's lives are quite busy
And
right now.
let me kind of tell you a bit of my experience
Okay.
early on with COVID, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. COVID shows up, and then all of a sudden there's all these restrictions. These were the days where we were protecting toilet paper, right?
Yes.
I'd never thought that. But sure, that was that early phase where we were hired to protect toilet paper in a lot of stores, and to manage that madness, that original madness, right?
I'm biting my
But
tongue. I have to say something.
crazy, crazy, right? Anyways, so I remember. So we're trying to mitigate this whole like limits that people can go and buy stuff, and there's that frenzy, and everybody's in lineups. And I remember doing some early shifts on there, and seeing the same person 3 times a day come back to the same store. Once was to return a shower curtain, like 40 minutes lineup, 20-minute lineup. I did the early days, right? Then later on in the afternoon they'd come and they'd buy 1 or 2 items. Then the evening they'd come back and they'd return the shower curtain. And then the next day they'd be back. And I started realizing, to some, it's kind of scary, but realizing that some people are just, it's a mode of, it's life. Go to the store. That's what you're doing. You're lonely. You have no family. You're an elder. It's your interaction of the day,
Yeah.
right? And that little hello hi from us in a world where everybody is now so distant. Everybody's so alone. Everybody's just and I mean everybody. I'm just maybe over dramatizing, but that's the reality of it. It's just like it's a simple nod. It's a simple, just be friendly. People are, like, there is so much of that negative stuff happening, and fear and distancing, and that it goes such a long way just to be positive and be helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
And
It's simple. It's simple. Like, don't be a prick. That's what I come down to over and over.
for those guards listening, or security professionals listening at the higher level, so we're talking about close protection operatives for princes, kings, VPs, presidents, you better be super polite, and you better
That's
have shirt.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Hollywood crowd, you better, like, how many jobs I did there, and it was like, you better not be that guy. You better have a smile on your face and be happy and realize that a lot of people are going to be, and you do not need to be overly serious, right? You need to be serious inside, but outside you should be very relaxed, right?
No,
You
I
should
mean,
come across
look,
as,
it just don't be a prick applies at any of these levels. It
yeah,
applies everywhere. Like protective guards, yeah, we know how it goes. It's sometimes you got paparazzi in your face, you got the photos, you got this again. They're pushy. You can be pushy. It never looks good. It never looks good on you. It never looks good on a client. And this is, I'll come back even to retail. We are, and sometimes where we are, wearing our own uniforms, it's obvious we're a private security company. Other times we are blending more with the client, or we might be wearing their logo. That's fine as well, right? But the important element at that level is that you're always being filmed. You're always being filmed. Somebody's always filming. Even CCTVs are rolling, and somebody's going to pull that up. It's there. So just be, and remember, a lot of time CCTV might not have audio, so it comes back down to the way you're holding yourself, your posture. Are you making pointing finger? Are just simple things at that level, right? But that level of wearing our uniform or wearing that of the client's uniform, when you're interacting, you're usually the first person, you're the first point of engagement, right? It is that first impression, and it's going to go a long ways, both reflecting on our company as a security company, and is going to reflect on the clients, right? It's a win-win. It's a win-win to look at it from that perspective, to go the extra mile, to be polite, to be aware of your presence, of all these little details, because it's going to make a difference for your client, or for our client, and for the patrons, and for our company as well. So I just, and I get it. When sometimes we push our guards hard, sometimes they're working long hours, sometimes it's cold, and we face a lot of people who are not the nicest. I
mhm.
get it. I get it. When you're on a shift, and every 15 minutes somebody wants to argue about the mask, and somebody wants to this, and he's got a chip on their shoulder, and it's like, well, you got to take it with a stride. That's what we're there for, and
Yeah,
you got to stay composed, and you got to be able to process at that level, and you got to recognize that, okay, I'm not here to take things personally. People are having a hard time. People, and I say that as if like I'm some, trust me, I lose my cool like everybody else once in a while,
right.
but you got it. That's part of being professional. That's part of being professional, right? So there are so many elements to this. There's that, and I think like we got to realize that the days of just putting guys in uniform, and guys who want to throw their weight around, and guys who want to we got to be efficient, we got to achieve results, but frankly, by being polite, by being respectful, it'll never decrease your chances of being efficient,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You can always increase. You can always make the mean face. You can always puff your chest if you want. But if you're starting with puffing your chest and already, having that chip on your shoulder, it doesn't help anybody, right?
No, no, it doesn't help. And you bring up some great points, Vali. And I think if I'm what I'm hearing from you, and it's just a lot of people, when they resort to anger, or they get upset or angry at something, it's because they haven't had enough training in how to deal with irate people. And in customer service, you're going to come across them, and you need to have patience. You need to listen very well. You need to communicate with those people exactly how to deal with them. But all in all, it comes down to a genuine want to help that person, right? And that's really what security is, right? Like, I really want, what's upsetting you, or why are you in the store? Oh, do you need assistance? I mean, and then an overbearing look as a security guard is, how is the store? Is everything safe? Is everything safe in there? Usually there's, we can bring it down to the individual person that walks into the store. But then there's going to be a collective group or a collective energy in the store. Is it safe in there? Is everything that's happening in there safe? And if not, I need to make sure that it's secure. I need to make
Right.
sure that,
And I think that's an important point, because when we're dealing with the individual, um, can you help somebody? Can you be helpful? You're resolving a problem for them, right? Nothing critical, but you're there to help the result. But the number of time where security services are actually, our security hat needs to dominate, is when people are having problems between each other,
Yeah.
patrons,
Yeah.
and that happens quite a bit more often than people like to think, where it is about parking spots, how much parking spot issues you see, right?
Yeah.
You see it flare up in the parking lot,
Oh yeah.
right? Honk, get out of the car, start pointing fingers, etc., 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 right? Now, depending on your mandate and your position, because as professionals, you can't abandon your position, right?
Yeah, of course.
So with that in mind, yeah, it becomes one of those situations where you gotta be able to kind of work at it at that level and de-escalate and make sense of it, right?
Yeah. My kind of angle with all of it, Valley, is that by being customer centric or focused, you are probing for potential problems, and you're probing to for the security side of it. You're not trying to help somebody buy something, or meaning you're not. That's not your main mandate. But by making a conversation, making eye contact, or making a good first impression, you're trying to make your job as a security guard much smoother. It's really solving it, cutting to the chase as quick as you can, right? And there's
Totally.
yeah, and I always told me there's many different ways. Like if you were to look at somebody that's a salesperson, right? And there and there's people that are natural salespeople, and there's people that are not natural salespeople. But I can guarantee you, if the I wasn't a natural salesperson. I was just a helpful person, and I sold so much by being helpful. That was my
Right.
main goal. I
Yeah.
was just being helpful. I was saying, "Oh, you don't know you have call display. Oh, you don't know that we have this feature." Like, and by being helpful, I probed, and by being probing, I could make a sale. By being helpful, you can get to problems before they happen. You use them to your own means. Like you're not there trying to sell shoes or trying to buy a shirt. You're there to help a person, but to also get to know who that person is, to make sure that everything's safe. So
Right.
that's kind of my angle, and guards got to try that. They got to play with that and see how
Certainly.
beneficial. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just made my day pass, and it feels wonderful to help people. It makes you feel good. I mean, there's enough people trying to cause us stress in that job. It's nice to also take the benefits of that job as well, get to know people, and like you said, make connections and relationships that will help your job, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you've been, so how's JTF's record with the customer service? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, well, we're very customer service oriented, obviously, because it's just it's both a growth strategy. It's part of how we just like to manage our staff, our customers, our clients, their patrons. Yeah, so like I always say, for us, security isn't an on off switch, it's a dial, and we really you gotta just learn to figure out the project,
Mhm.
and then to once we understand and we gather our information around how the clients wants the project to be run, then we create a specific site file for it, and then we share all that information back to the project management, or directly with the staff, so they know what our expectation is and what the client wants, how they want it done.
Yeah, I think you're being quite modest there. I've seen a variety of projects you're involved in. You're involved in all kinds of projects. You do security at all levels, like retail, non-retail, special projects, special situations. You really do have a good sense of understanding what it is. Like your guards, I mean, they're dialed in, man. They're really dialed in some situations that are, other guards would be buried, but they're got very good sensitivity, and that speaks to you as a person, because you connect quite deeply. That's with each client, much like you did as a teacher in martial arts. Every student is quite different, and you need to connect with what motivates that student, and also what makes them happy, and also what they want out of the training.
Mhm.
Yeah, the same. Like security is security, but every owner, every company, every store, every location has its own set of problems, and the JTF guards, you've brought them that, you've given them that level of customizability, which I think is really special. And I know it's hard to talk about yourself and your own company, but I know from my experience in security and also my depth in customer service, there's a lot of things that you customize, and I think that's a huge benefit for somebody that's saying, hey, should I hire JTF? I've kind of got a special situation. You really specialize in those, so it's worth noting, and it's definitely noticeable on my end for sure.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, like you say, it's just taking the time, is making sure that we understand projects, that guards understand projects, that yeah, I think that it can't be. It's not just you send a guy in uniform at a post and here's your orders and get it over. It does require more, right? Every project requires more. Guards need more attention. We need to be more involved with the clients,
Yeah.
etc., etc., etc. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure how this topic was going to go, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure it's definitely not the more glorious topic, but it is very important. And
It's very important. Yeah.
and I think that I'm really glad we discussed it. And just to recap for people watching, the key takeaways here is the importance of a guard understanding customer service as it relates to being a better guard. And we talked about having a good greeting, like a good morning, hello, good evening, establishing rapport, because we got masks on. We can't really see the smile as much, right? Creating a good first impression, which is not the tough guy. It is welcoming yet secure. There's a presence, but not, on the inside there's a seriousness, but on the outside there's a warmth and a comfort, like, you got this, right? If somebody needs assistance, help them. It's fine. It doesn't take away from your job. It just helps. Then why not? You're developing rapport with people, and you're probing for potential problems. It's part of your job. And then when you see something, communicate it. Like, if don't be scared to communicate. That's your main job. And then the overall thing is security. Now, security doesn't mean it's just creating an environment where everything is safe, whether it's the doors are checked, the capacity of the place, the anger levels of the customers inside the store, if there's something wrong. It's
Well,
very.
sorry. I mean, I just want to add to that. Like, we're talking here about customer service, but like I said at the introduction, our main platform is security, right? So everything that goes from that to incident management to being able to deal with first aid situations and de-escalation and any of those elements, right? So we want to remind that we are in business of security,
of course,
first and foremost, right? So yeah, 100%.
Listen, that's been a great topic, man. Vali, I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom with everybody.
Thank you so much.
I love these. I love these video podcasts. I'm really learning a lot, and I think a lot of people are getting out of them. So we'll see you. We'll try to do more. This is great. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a good day.
Good talking, Emmanuel. Take care now. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.